get started. Today's Objective-C course is on GUI development. So rather than showing you a boring PowerPoint, I thought that I would just demonstrate how to create some GUIs. So actually what I'm going to do is start out creating, I've got some some created projects on the desktop here stored. And I will start creating some, and then I'll show you some, so it won't be too time consuming. But if you have a computer, you can come along and follow along with me as I'm doing this. So I opened up a new Xcode project, and I'm going to select the Mac OS application type. We have been selecting command line tool over here, so we're not doing that one today. We're doing this one over here, Coca application. I'll talk about Coca Apple Script application in another lecture. That one's coming up actually, but I'm going to talk about Coca application for today. So if I click on next, it's going to ask me for a name, same as before. So I'm going to say in here, I don't know, let's go and call this one Hello World or something. There we go. Or Hello World 2, just in case I haven't already. Actually, let me make all this one word. And under App Store category, it doesn't really matter. We just leave that one on none, actually, because we're not going to create it for like a certain type. Create document-based application, no. We're just going to create a regular old Coca one that we can add stuff to it, and I'm going to keep on use automatic reference counting. So I'm going to click next, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. And so now it is being loaded up, and we see we don't really have that much going on here. But we have an XIB file, and the XIB file, if I click on it, opens it up over here. But I don't really see anything in here. So as an example, I can change the window type or add a window. Like so now, for example, I clicked on this window here, which is window, to bring up a main application window. This one here is going to give us a main menu kind of component that would lead to other ones in terms of our navigation. So, but one of the, in order to get the GUI to show up initially, you have to click on one of those. So I'm going to click on window. The other options we have in here are going to be like, different ways we can essentially configure the window. So anyway. If we look in the right-hand corner down here on the bottom, we have the object library. For those of you who have taken the iPhone class, this will look extremely familiar because it's the same interface. So over here, we can actually go, data views, windows, and menus if we wanted to. And this is where, see this picture here matches this picture over here. So that's how I added the view to it. Menu. I just kind of clicked on it. It gave me essentially the information. I can drag other stuff like a panel and stick a panel out here or another window. Stick it in the window. Actually, that's not really going to be effective because it's inside of another container. Toolbars. You can stick a toolbar in the window. It shows up on the top of the window. Image tools, all sorts of different types of windows, and you're going to have to experiment with them to see what what it is that's going to be appropriate for what it is you want. And then as an example here, we have layout tools like a box. I can stick a box in here, and then inside the box I can stick other things as well. So I'm just dragging some stuff to the screen so you can kind of see like the design techniques. Like I just put like a horizontal rule in there. And I'm going to go back actually now up to the object library, and I'm going to type in label as an example. And this is the same label that I get with the label in the iPhone. So I can come up over here as an example, double click on it, and put here a Hello World. And now I have a label for a Hello World up here. And I can change the fonts over here, by changing, making it big. You can see it grows up over here. And just play around with this a little bit longer here, and then I'll run it, and we'll see what happens with it. Oops, let me move this down a little bit. my label's a little big for what it is. Okay. Why is it not mixed? I'll make it smaller. Just make it smaller. It'll fit into the window. There we go. Alright, so if I run this application, I just clicked on the run button actually, I should momentarily see a GUI show up on the screen. Build successful. Hello. We're going over GUI application today.
Okay.
Or GUI development tools.
That's late.
And here is the running application. So we can see I have the window that showed up. I have automatic color. And it's not really changing anything, but I can click on these guys here. These are menu options. I can add stuff to this particular bar that I put up here. There's nothing really, there's no functionality. So we would have to essentially add buttons and do things for functionality. So I'm going to close this and add some functionality to it. And you're going to see kind of easily how this kind of relates to iPhone and iPad development actually. It's the same actual concepts, slightly different in some ways, but very similar. So as an example, I have this Hello World label up here. I'm going to drag a button. I'm going to put a button. I'm going to change the label. So I'm going to say I have push buttons, granular buttons, rounded rectangular buttons, textured buttons, recessed buttons, all these kind of little buttons. Here, I'm going to put the square button. I'm going to put a square button out here. And in the button, I'm going to put a label that says change greeting. There you go, a little button that says change greeting on it. So now what I'm going to do is click on the editor in the middle here, the looks like a little tuxedo. Click on that guy here, and same concept as in the iPhone, iPad development. We have an app delegate, and this is kind of the only thing that belongs to this particular blank project that I just opened up is the app delegate. So I could add a person in there and then make a person instance of an object. So let's go ahead and put an object in here because we're going to kind of see, and this is just kind of on the fly kind of development. So I don't really have a plan here. I'm just going to start adding some stuff to this because I think it's probably like the easiest way to grasp what it is we're doing. So I'm going to go new. And I'm going to say file, and I'm just going to create a regular old class like we created before. I'm going to call it person actually, and it's going to extend NSObject, and it's going to have some data members in there, just some properties and stuff like that. So it kind of reviews that concept as well. So down here I've got OSX and I've got Coca selected, Objective-C class. I'm going to go next, and I'm going to call this one. Let's call it person. Then I can make an employee if I wanted to. And I'm extending NSObject, and then I'm not selecting with XIB because I'm going to use the same interface. I'm going to use this main menu XIB, which is kind of a kind of an easy way of doing it without having to make more. You don't have to make a new interface for it. I just created a generic class. So I put my class in here, and now you can see I have my .h and my .m's over here. So in my my .h, I'm going to go ahead and stick in here. Interfaces over here. There we go. I'm going to put NSString name. Everybody's got a name, right? And the S has to be capitalized. There we go. And integer age. There we go. And okay, that's pretty good. All right. So those are my two data properties, and then for my class, and then over here, let me put something in here. Actually, let me put a method I can run in here. Like, let's make it void. This is going to be age. Get older. How about that? Get older. We'll make you older. Then let's see. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Well. So over here I'm going to have this little thing that says incomplete implementation. Yes, it is incomplete. So I'm going to cut and paste this here so I don't have to worry about my typing. Stick it over here. And put some opening and closing brackets in here. Get rid of that. Alright. I guess I could put some properties in here and some synthesizes if I wanted to. Depends on how far we want to take this. Property name. Actually, let's not do that. We don't have to bother. It'll actually work. We don't have to really do anything with it. I'm just going to make an instance of this object anyway. So, okay, so now I'm going to go back to the XIB file. Now we have an instance of an object I can create. which is not going to really do anything. I'm going to show you where that would go in the code. And you can figure out how to run a method on it as well. So out here, I've got the app delegate H and I've got the app delegate M. And so out into the H file, I can include person.h. So out here, I'm going to go imports. Let's just do this one here, person.h. So now it's identifiable within the class, and I can actually make an instance of this class and stuff like that. So I'm going to go into the M file over here, and what have I got in here? Well, I'm going to notice a few things actually now that we've got these back-to-back. It's kind of interesting. Our interface app delegate is slightly different. So it's coming from NS object, but it's also calling NS application delegate because this is running as an application. So it's giving us the inheritance for all of the controls for a main menu, submenus, navigation, and all of the things that would be associated with that. And then we have our property here, our IB outlet, which is our NS window. So at any one moment of time, we can hide the window, open the window, do all sorts of things, or add stuff to the window. But we have control of the window. And we see that the window here, if I opened up the GUI, and if I change this one here over and I do this, I can see the window is going to highlight. So same thing as that iPhone development. I can go like this here as an example and press the control key on the keyboard and drag it over as well. And I can call this the greeting. And this is going to be an NS text field cell, which is the outlet that I put on there actually. And so now I know that this is actually, oops, did I do that correctly? Yes, I did. Here it is. This is the, make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. It's not going to go bigger. Yeah, well. Okay. Oh well. Okay, so I know you can drag this. I was trying to drag it bigger. Anyway, so this one's going to be the window. This is going to be the field. And let's put a button control on here. So I'm going to right mouse click on this button here. And I'm going to drag over, well, let's see what we got here. Selector. We have the selector. We don't have any of the actions. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to leave that button on. I'm going to put another button on there. I'm going to put the regular rectangular button because that one we're familiar with. Rounded rectangular button. And stick it right here. I'll stick it right here underneath. I don't know where that button came from. There we go. And then I'll put on here another button. And I just want to compare actually the actions on this button. So if I right mouse click, oh, I'm going to get the same ones. Okay, so the sent action is, I believe, what we're going to be looking at in terms of the connectors. In the iPhone and the iPad development, when we do this, we see touch up inside, touch. So it's the touch event that I'm trying to control at this particular point. I believe, though, the sent actions is going to be the one we're going to want. So if I change this one to an NS button, and I'm going to basically be creating an IB outlet, an IB action to go along with this. So to create it, I'm going to give it a button. Let's just say press button. Press button, for lack of better words. So it's an IB action that's associated now with this button. So if I click on it, you can kind of see the corresponding components that have been created. And so the hesitation I had originally was, well, I know I'm going to select an outlet type. What am I going to select? And it's essentially going to be, are you going to link it? The accessibility is going to be falling under different categories, received actions. Maybe a perform click would have been better. So I can go like this and control mouse click on it and come down here, and I can add yet another one. Oops, why is it not working? Interesting. Okay, so that's not going to be available. Alright, maybe I have to get rid of this one. Interesting, okay. Alright, I should have left that one alone. If you go backwards on it, I can show you how to do backwards. You just click this way. and then you can collect it. But essentially you want these connected. It's what they're now calling wiring. So now if I run it, oops, I have to stop the previous window. I didn't close the window that was up there originally. Now if I run it, what I should get is a window here, but I have everything registered, but nothing is really happening yet. So now I'm going to close the window. And don't worry about all this other stuff I put on here. So I have an IB action, which is called press button. And on the IB action, we're going to make a new instance of this person class. How about that? And then in the new instance of the person class, I don't know what we're going to do because we don't have any behavior on there. But I'm going to show you where you could put stuff. So in here, if I go down to the bottom, I see, well, okay, so I could do this. I could say person alloc, and then I can go in it. Remember from last time. So now I haven't used it yet because the warning is going to say unused. Yeah, I know it's unused. I haven't done anything with it yet. But I could, let's say, for example, underneath here, go, oops, what did I call it? Person alloc. I have to assign it to something. ID, let's call it peeps. Peep is equal to person alloc. And then now I can go and call peep and say, what was that method called again? Get age or grow older or something? Get older. Get older, there we go. So now I've used it. So now all my little error messages or warning messages have gone away. And get older could, put something on the screen. In fact, let's go over to the get older and we'll see what happens here. So in the get older for person, we don't have any link to the GUI. We could provide a link from the main because it's all essentially within the same scope. Or we could get older here. We could actually go like nslog something, or we could go printf if we want. We would actually combine it. We would basically print to the command, which I don't know why we would want that, or we could essentially just say get older. It's void, so it's not really going to return anything. So I can just say age plus plus. And then, whoops, I'm editing the wrong one. So let me take this out of here and put it into, to the correct one. Here we go. So I can go age plus plus or something. Well, age isn't really anything right now, so. But anyway, hopefully you get sort of the concept in terms of using that class. So out here on the XIB file that I have loaded up here, if I wanted to, like, say, play around with the GUI, I could, for let's say the IB action here as well, on the, let me make sure I'm on the right file here, appdelegate.m file. Underneath it, I could say, let's hide this one. Let's say I don't like this button. Did I wire this button? Yeah, I think I wired the box. No, I wired the label. What did I call the label? I called the label greeting. And so you can see actually here's something else, a different form of the initialization. And this you don't get with the iPad or iPhone iOS interface. What you get here is this underline, which says you're synthesizing window, and it's going to be equal to underscore window. It's basically to avoid confusion in terms of the naming convention. So now we have underscore greeting. I could actually take this out if I wanted to and not call it underscore greeting and just call it greeting. Or so if I do that, then I can come down here and say, let's say for example, greeting, and then run a method on greeting to, no, I'm going to set string value. How about that? To, well, we don't know our string, our name. Let's just do our name. There we go, name. Oops. And let's say get older is going to change our name. Let me make the syntax correct, actually. There we go. It's the well, what's our name? Do we have name in here? Where's it? Name. Hold on 1 second. I have to see what that undeclared identifier name. What did I call the name out here? I probably haven't initialized it either. But in person, I've got name. And, oh, you know what? I have it in a different file. So let's just do this. Let's go like this here. Let me just do this here. It's out of scope, actually. So out here in the appdelegate.h file, I'm going to create a new property. And I'm going to create the property as, here's the H file here, and make sure I get the right one here. I'm going to put in a property here. I'm going to call it name, actually, so I can change and play around with name. So, and let's see, and a string. Now I have to play around with it. Let's see now, name. Actually, I have to put the type in here, don't I? No, actually, I can't remember the syntax right now for some strange reason. Let me leave this alone for a second here. Actually, I have another idea. This is like for the on-the-fly development here. Let's just put a string in there. So I'm going to change hello world instead of actually trying to like save it to a name. I'm going to actually, because for some reason I'm having a brain freeze. Let's see. Down here on the bottom, I'm just going to set it to a constant character. I'm going to call it goodbye. Goodbye. There we go. So now I'm setting it to a string value. I'm setting greeting to a string value, and I'm going to call it goodbye. So theoretically, then, if the press button, let me stop this execution here, were to see, I don't have anything that changes it back, but it originally said hello, and now it says goodbye on the action. I can set it so, like, say, for example, the button click. I'm going to show you this actually because I've taken the game and I've converted it, partially converted it, and we'll play around with another scene or something, and I'll just show you how I built it. But technically what we can do is use the class, use the GUI to get data to populate into the class, you know, the data memory, if I were to build the whole class and do it that way, you know, in a form, kind of a more structured way. But, yeah? Sure, sure. Yes. Yes. But this is known inside of the class. It's an instance, not a class variable, which is why I couldn't use it out in appdelegate. I'd have to actually create it as a class variable, or use a different technique, essentially. But what I'm basically saying is that you can actually call, let's say for example, this one here said get older, said name is equal to you are old. And then has that in there. So now name, is it name? No, I don't have to do that. To get older, age plus plus, name. What did I leave out? This is what I left out. Calling a method here. Hold on one second. There we go. I'm going from I was just teaching a different. I was working with a student on a different language earlier, so my mind, I have to switch back to Objective-C. Okay, I'm struggling here. Okay, so now I'm back to Objective-C. I was actually working with C++ earlier today, which is, I've been looking at C++ code all day. Okay, so, and I really needed the coffee, and IT was out of coffee today. All right, so I'm suffering. All right, so anyway, so now the name is equal to and so now if I had one here, let's just do this correctly here. If I had, let's say, let's say return is going to be I don't know if I could use a string actually. I think I can actually. It's the data type. Get name. Here we go. No, but I can use a character array for it as well. So this is probably going to tell me that the data type, yeah, inference type and a string cannot be character. Well, let's see. Let's do characters here. Let's do a character. Character byte. Let's just do character. And I'm going to return, because I didn't create a character string that actually can be used as a data type, because objects can't be data types for methods. So I'm just going to say A. How's that? Let's just return A. That A is a character. And if I actually do the syntax correctly, I can put character brackets around the A to signify that it is a character. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run get name, and then I could, possibly, say inside of the assignment, this is going to be the name of my person, object peeps, and then run get name, which would return a character, which I believe should be consistent. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's over here. Let me just put that in there real quick here. Character get name. All right. Okay, so we're looking fairly complete except for this message here. Expected a semicolon. Where did it not get the semicolon? Return. Maybe it's over here. Who knows? I believe this is the correct syntax. So it should go away. No, it's not going away. Expecting a semicolon on the prototype. Didn't I put one in? Oh, I have one here, an extra one. There we go. Hello. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the interface here. And let's flip this back here over to the M file. Now I could run the method here, actually, and put it in here and run it. Because it's going to return a character. So I could put a nest in here. Let's see if I can get this right. Peep, which is the name of my instance of the object. Get name. Name. There we go. And then make sure I close it correctly. And convert. This is actually going to have to be converted. I can't take a string. I can't take a character and put it in. So it has to be converted to a. So let's see. Actually, no. Actually, this is going to expect a string. So let's see what this message actually says. Incompatible integer to. Yeah, it's an incompatible type conversion. All right, well, you get the point. I'd have to use the right type. Actually, use a string to actually put it in there. If I defined a string up here, I could put the string in there as an example and use the string, like, you know, maybe create a property and a string and then use the assign the name that came from the GUI. I have it in another example, so I'm going to just I'll just get rid of this actually. But the point of this particular example was to show you that you could create a class and then make an instance of the class and then manipulate the class along with the objects. And so you're combining object-oriented programming with GUI development or GUI programming for GUI front ends. So let me show you some stuff that I've put together that is written correctly. That I thought I had a hello. Here it is. Hello Coca. So, hello Coca, I believe, you know what, after what I just showed you, it's probably going to be doing something very similar actually. But let's just take a look here real quick. So, this one here, actually let me run the program so you see what it's doing. It's just basically changing some labels. So, if I enter my name in here, and so I say Barbara, and then I go show me Barbara. And then I just put another one here that says click me, hello world. It's just a way to set the string, kind of like what I just did a few minutes ago with goodbye. Which is what this is doing. And this one's taking this here and setting it here. So we'll just take a brief look here at how that's done. And it's kind of, no class was added at all. And we're just using the app delegate. And the app delegate is associated with main menu. It's called main menu because we just selected the default project type of the Coca application. And it's not really giving us anything. So app delegate here. And so we have up here, I have, that's why I didn't want to do it in the other example because it's actually in this one here. Property and a string name that we can set as a property. And then we have, all this stuff is added in here. In the same way as I showed you before by clicking on the item and pressing the control key and then adding it in. So we can see that this particular item is the text field and this text field. What do I have? Two text? No, I have two text fields, looks like. I have another. No, actually, I do have two text fields. Interesting. So I have show name and enter name. And then the two buttons. One button is going to be the name button, and then the other, this is the window button, and then this is the click me button. And the property for the label, the other label that's up there as well. And then, which we didn't really do anything, the one that says on the top here, the label. And then the button clicked is the lower one. So what I have is the properties and also the actions So as I mentioned before, and let me just show you. Let me just demonstrate that to you because sometimes it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to add another button here just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. If I put the button in here and I have the .h file opened up over here, I do. And if I take the button and I make sure I just click the button here and I can press down the control key on the keyboard and I drag it in, I'm going to get the button in terms of the outlet. So I can say test button. And it's going to be an NS button type. So here. And then I get the property. And the property comes in as an IB outlet. And then what ends up happening automatically over here is I get the associated IB action that is supposed to show up down here. It is probably up here, actually, because I put it in a different order. Where do you see test button? Oh, here it is. No? Am I blind? After synthesize. Oh, here it is, test button right here. Okay, good. So you see, it's automatically stuck in here. But I don't have an IB action for it, do I? No, I have the label. I have the button clicked, the name button, which are the two buttons here. So I can add an action item to it by clicking on, going back here to the .h file here. And on the button itself, if I right mouse click, I can see that I've got the reference from the test button that's selected. I can add the outlet, a new referencing outlet, to the same file. And I'm going to call this button outlet. No, button test. I'll go button test backwards. Or no, I'll go test button O. Test button O to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. And then I'll connect. And it says IB outlet. Well, it says IB outlet up there. But now I have two properties that are associated with it. And if I look into here, I'm going to see now I have two properties that are associated with it. So I can actually kind of treat different behaviors on the buttons differently. When I can have associated through the code, I can have different associations to the same button. I could actually drag that into different, and use it for different purposes. Anyway, so if I look at the actions that are associated here, the IB action here for the button clicked, and then I can kind of see what the code looks like. And pull that off so this window's a little bit bigger so you can see the code all in one shot. And the code's quite simple. So the underscore label, which is the label, which is here. And again, you don't have to use this technique. You can just, you can do this actually instead if you wanted to. And then you essentially accomplish the same task. So it depends on what you're used to. And then down here we have the name button, and it's just basically setting the string value to this. And then here's that method call for enter name, which is the box, is the name of the box that's up here. This is the enter name box right here. This box here has an ID outlet, is synthesizes enter name. If we were to look at the corresponding code in the .h file, we would see it's connected. So that's it's kind of an easy way, especially if you have more than one item, it's kind of an easy way to see what's connected and what's not connected. And then on this particular one, we can say, well, it's string value, which means return the string value that's associated. This is almost like, we created a class, because this is running a method actually, and this really get string or get value. So on this particular instance, this is a data member that we're using a setter and a getter for a property that's been synthesized. And so when we say, enter name string value, well, string value is the name of the variable or the data that's holding the string text. So we can also change the properties by looking at them over here in terms of, if we click on the right window over here, there we go. We see all these properties here, so we can actually change, let's say for example, the text color or something on the box itself, or we could do it programmatically by running the methods. So as an example, one of the methods I believe is set color. So I could, as an example, down here do something like enter text, enter name, set color. Set shadow. Here we go. Set text color, and then put it in an NS color. That makes sense. So I don't know any of the NS colors, but maybe red. Let's see if that works. Probably not. Nah, it's not going to work. So, I'm sorry? Nah, I don't know what the colors are, so. No, you have to actually give it the parameter of the color that you're setting it, but I don't know what the colors are. Yeah. I'm sorry? No. Actually, you're right. You're right about that. No, it's because I don't know the colors. Yeah, I don't know the, it's not taking a string. It's actually going to take an NS color, but I don't know what the NS colors are. So, bad example. Yeah, at that point I'd look it up. What are the colors I can put? What are the color values that I can put in for NS color, actually? You know, if I actually, you know, in fact, this is a pretty good test here. Let's see if it works. NS color values for Objective-C. Let's see. RGB colors, RGB values. So it's taking on an RGB value. So here's an example here. Red value, green value, blue value. This is color with collaborate red. Slightly different method calls, but it's looking for an RGB number. I can kind of figure that out. But I don't know any RGB numbers off the top of my head, so I'm not going to put that in there. So, but it's kind of like a little example of how you would actually explore what would actually go there. Okay, so this is the basic hello world, which is nothing more than the GUI screen that does stuff, and getting at the labels and getting at the information, using it programmatically. So I'm going to exit this one out here. Now I'm going to show you this really cheesy calculator that I put together. And the cheesy calculator has got a different reason. So here's my calculator. And I'm going to run the calculator, and when I run it, I can see when I press numbers, I get them in here. And I'm actually, this particular one is assigning, okay, so when I press a number, it's just showing up in here, like if I press the plus, I press the minus. It's just basically letting me know that I'm actually got the right button associated with the right functionality. The one that's really going to make a difference here is the sum. If I've clicked a 1, if I've clicked a 2, if I've clicked a 3, and if I've clicked a 4, if I hit sum, it should be equal to 10. So and my clear button's not working, but let me show you something else actually. Let me run it again to just let you know what I'm doing. If I just press the 2 and I press the 1, then I know I've got a 3. Because all it's doing is it's assigning values, and this is kind of like what I wanted to show you in terms of in the other example. I said, wait a minute, I've got this already, so I'll just show you this example. Alright, so just take a look at the code. This part you should be familiar with a bit already, is the assigning the properties of the text. And here I kind of went overboard. I kind of just did everything. I just grabbed everything and I put it over here because I didn't know what I was going to use and what I wasn't going to use. So every single one of these items, even though the clear button's not even implemented, is over here. So in terms of the actions, what I did is in the interface, just like the regular old class that you would create, like the person class in the interface, I put in integer 1, 2, 3, 4. So I defined some variables, and they're integers, so I'm just going to add, initialize them to values and stuff. So out here on the appdelegate.m file, when I click the 1 button, 1 is equal to 1. The 2 button, 2 is equal to 2. I know, it's a stupid calculator. But what this is showing you is here we have we've synthesized the 4 button. What's the 4 button? Why did I synthesize the 4 button? I'm not quite sure. I synthesized result, answer, window. Yeah, it's done automatically for me. Hold on one second, let me just take a look here. Why did I do the 4 button differently? No, here's my 4 button down here. I believe I was trying something different with it. I didn't really need to do that because I'm just using the variables. I'm not doing any setters or getters in it. I'm just using them as variables. So it's okay. you can see I can, like, I just basically just kind of grab stuff and put it over here and just do it real quickly. But anyway, so you can kind of see what happens here. And then on the, maybe the fourth is doing something different. Let's see what I do on the fourth. Answer 4, set value to 4. I'm sorry? Yeah, I know, it's no different. I just added a property for it as well. I could change something about the button. This is just looking at the IB action. I added that as a property as well. So I could change the color of 4 or something, do something, you know, in terms of more so than just the action, the outlet and the action. I can change some of the properties that are associated with the button if I wanted to. But it's really doing the same functionality. The sum button, here it is here, integer I is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Set integer value to I. And before I was setting a string value, this is integer value. However, it's still going to a label. So the string actually shows everything. It converts it to a string automatically. If I say set integer value, it'll show an integer value I in the window. My problem before is I was setting a string value and I was using a character, not a string. But a string's an object, so it has a slightly different, numbers are a little bit easier to work with. It has a slightly different meaning to it. So, anyway, so this was the primitive calculator. So let's move it up a little bit.
Can you show the answer
Oh.
and where it is showing the result?
The answer comes up over here in terms of the result. Oh, did you, what did you want me to do?
Show how the result is coming. The answer.
Oh, it's just on this button click here on sum.
No, in the program.
If I run it, you want me to run it? Is that what you said? Or no? So right now it's going to be 0 because nothing's pressed. But
When we add, the result is
oh yeah, add's
showing
actually
the
not doing.
answer.
This isn't doing anything. These guys aren't doing anything at all.
No, ma'am, when we add, the result is showing you the answer. Yes?
Yeah, it's actually showing right here.
In the answer.
Yeah.
I
It's kind of small. It was 0, now it's 8.
there is an
Yeah.
answer. Okay.
Yeah, it's just basically taking this. This is the this field. The label is called result, and it's updating the setting the value. Set the integer value to I, and I is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. If one, and this is actually kind of another interesting test as well, is that I didn't initialize 1, 2, 3, 4 to anything, but in Objective-C it's automatically initialized to 0 when I declare them. So there's a declaration and initialization that happens all at one time. So, which is kind of interesting because if I did this in C++ and I didn't set anything, I'd have like a null value, or I'd have nothing plus something. It's going to basically come out with an error message that says you're using a variable before you've initialized it, kind of thing. But this is already automatically initialized. It's not a complete calculator. That's why I say it's kind of a hokey calculator. We have temps. What are temps? Temps is I'm going to show you, for those people who are not in the iPhone class, we've looked at temps already. But I want to show you temps only because it just reinforces you can write the same identical program in the Mac, for the Mac, instead of for the iPhone or for the iPad. So we see the little screen. This is an iPhone. This is an iPhone project using the iPhone simulator, emulator. The components are identical to what we just looked at a few minutes ago with the Coca application. Non-mobile device, just for the regular for the Mac. So this here could actually be converted into it. All we have to do is basically get away from the view controller and the view for the iPhone iPad interface component and switch it over. We would do that by just either reduplicating it or cutting and pasting and then taking the functionality. So if we look at the code for this, what we've got, and this is, I basically put this out here for a couple people who are doing the conversions from string to integer, integer to string. So what we have down here is just the regular old properties again, and then to show you something a little bit more interesting, actually, if I right mouse click on these buttons here, this is where I get the touchdown, repeat, touchdown, drag, touchdown inside, touchdown upside, all of the different controls. We also have what's called gestures that can be performed on the objects itself as well. And the gestures are going to be like pinching, dragging, moving kind of things. I have a partially written, actually it is completely written, but it won't run actually because I can't mimic gestures with a mouse. So I'm waiting for my provision for to actually put it on the device. Which, if you came in a little bit later, I announced to the class that I'm getting a student, well, hopefully within the next week or so, Apple students, iOS students, developer accounts. So 200 students at any one moment in time, which is more than I have in my classes, can register their devices, download a certificate, and I'll go through how to do that actually, and then put the app on your phone, because you're going to need it on the phone for, let's say, gesture control, like pinching and stuff, all the sorts of things you can't really test on a computer. So this particular app, if I run it, isn't using any gesture control, it's using button presses. And some of you have seen this app already. We actually built this in class last week in the iPhone class. But I wanted to show it to the iOS people, only because it's kind of demonstrating to you how the functionality works together. And if I put in a 70, and I verified, this is the same app we wrote actually, so if I verify I put 70 in here, and I see it's 21 Celsius, so it's going Fahrenheit to Celsius. I actually have to write 21 in here to go back to Fahrenheit. So now it says 70 over here. It's not smart enough. There's a slight bug in this program. It's not smart enough because if I go back to Celsius, now I got -6. Now I got 70. So it's thinking that this is Fahrenheit and we're going to Celsius, or Celsius to Fahrenheit. So it's not, the logic is a little hokey. So. And then the keyboard doesn't go away. So in the app that I put together, that's the GUI version of our adventure game that we did last time, which we're going to come up next, makes the keyboard go away. And I'll show you how to do that. But I just wanted to take a few minutes just to show you this implementation, just to let you know how easy it is actually. So same as before, we just put the items on here, we dragged them in here, and then on the M file, on the implementation, we're setting, okay, so the scary part about this in terms of the iPhone stuff is you get a bunch of extra stuff in here. So the course of action for event-driven behavior is load something up to the screen and then wait for users to click on something. On the iPhone, iPad directory, platform, we have the view did load and we have the view did unload life cycle. We don't have the same life cycle on a Coca application, so we don't have these methods actually. So what I've done is actually I built the, instead of building the app for the adventure game, instead of building it as a Coca, I built it as an iPhone, because I wanted to show you on the view did load, when the window comes up, it can go ahead and set a view, and then we can switch a view. We can have multiple views in there, and we can switch back and forth between different views, which is the kind of the simple design approach I chose for it. This doesn't have any more than one view, and when the view loads, the view loads. It's kind of like what you see is what you get. So there's nothing significant on this particular example to look at there. What is significant is when the C button and the F button gets hit. And what we're doing here, and this is what I was trying to do before, but I didn't get my syntax down correctly, and this is the syntax I should have used, was to take and do an NS string to Celsius. So it's a string value. This is always a string that's being printed out here. And then here it's going to be equal to temp, start temp, which is going to be text. And start temp is this box up here. This is start temp. So the text that's on the start temp is equal to that. And then this is just regular old calculation. This is a double C, a built-in primitive data type, not an object, C, which is going to equal to, and then here's a little calculation for it. And then inside the little calculation double little stuff, we're running double value on 2 Celsius. Well, 2 Celsius is a string. So we're taking the string and we're converting it to a double value so that we can minus 32 and times it by this double value over here. And then we're going to set the out temp.text, and we're going to allocate a string because we have to have the output, be held as a string. And it's going to be initialize with the format, and then we're going to say with C, which is a double. So we're going to allocate this double variable with 0.0 precision to a text, to a piece of text actually, from an string. And then out degrees set text. Well, set it to, well, excuse me, this is the second label that's showing us our degrees. So the out temp is this label right here. So it's running an old-fashioned C dot notation, out temp dot text, which is kind of interesting. So this is really a combination of C-ish slash Objective-C in terms of the implementation. And the F button's doing pretty much the same thing. So just think you always have to start with a string, convert it to a number, a float or a double or an integer, whatever it is you happen to be using, and then convert it back to a string. And then set the text property of whatever output entry you're going to put out here and set it to a text. You're always looking at text, you're never really looking at the number associated with it. So, oops, before I close it, I should have asked if there were any questions. No? Okay. Let's take a look at our adventure game. Alright, so you're going to love this one. So we all remember the first game, for those people who were here? Kind of a boring little command line thing. Now it's a little bit more exciting, huh? Alright, so I built it at as a iPhone application. And it's going to be a little bit, in fact, let me move this guy down. Let me move this guy down here so you can sort of see what I did. I put subviews in the view, and I'll show you how to do that actually, because I can always remove it. I'm going to put, see, if I click on it, you can kind of see the two views. If I open up, here, let me shut this for a second and open up the .h file. Uh-oh, property strong, title. Yeah, I'm not using title. Okay, so here's a one view. So here's view 2. Here's the views. Okay. So I have a property set up. It's a UI view, and I have view 1 and I have view 2. And I'm going to hide view 1, or excuse me, view 2, while view 1 is being shown. So I'm going to put view 3 on here. So we can build another view and add, and basically show you what I did, because I'm sort of building this for another demo, so for an upcoming workshop. So this is kind of work in progress for me, so you guys can kind of like benefit from it at the same time. I'm trying to see, why do we have property title copy? Attribute does not match. Yeah, I did a hokey thing with the title. So let me show you what this thing looks like actually. Let me put this view back where it goes. This goes right up here. So I've kind of layered them on top of each other. I'm sorry? Now it's not inside of it, I hope. Did I just put it inside? Uh-oh. No, let's see. Let's just leave it like that. I'll leave it like that, just so you can see. Let me show you what this is doing so you can kind of see why we have two different views on there. I didn't want to put, you can actually put a view inside of a view. I didn't want to do that. Okay, so it says, welcome to my game. Your plane has just crashed. This is the same user interface, but instead of using a command line, well, I'll show you how to do that when I write the third one. So when I clicked in here, the keyboard comes up, and the keyboard doesn't go away. But I put something in here, so when you press start, it goes away. So if I click on quit, the program quits. It's just doing a simple exit. So actually, I shouldn't have done that so quickly. I should have done it at the end. So let me run it again. You know, because sometimes you're in the game and you just want to leave the game. And the game's actually not doing any statistics right now, but it could very easily. And we can add that actually right now if we wanted to. So I'm going to put Barbara in here. Now when I press on start, so your plane has crashed on a deserted island and help is coming in 3 days, and you're going to try and survive, so type your first name and press continue. Okay, well I probably should change that instruction. Maybe say press start. So when I have start, I moved this down a little bit, if you noticed. Yeah, up here I changed where it said welcome to my game to level 1. It's just kind of crude. I probably should. And now you're on level 1 or day 1. That's probably what I should say on there. So then I took Barbara and I put it up here. So it says, welcome, Barbara. And then now I have more options to select. But I didn't, this is as far as I got. Because this is the point. I mean, that's as far as I demoed the text to you. And now we have something to build, so I can continue with this concept. All right, so that's what the program's actually doing. So let's put the third view in here, and we'll see how these views are put in. And so I'm on my .h file, so I'm gonna move this over a little bit, put it back where it was before, and move this up here a little bit. I'm doing this so I can see basically create some more real estate for myself. Open up the third panel, and now I'm going to put on a UI view because I want to add a third view. And here's the view. I'm going to drag the view onto the canvas here, but I don't want to drag it inside this one. So if I drag it in here, it's going to go inside the first view. So let's go inside the second view. I want it inside the big one. So now I have it outside. If you nest it, that's the biggest problem. If you nest it inside, then you're going to end up with, you know, hiding and showing is going to be impossible because it's all nested inside. So there is a way of getting, and if you press on, no, let's see, there's a box. Well, all right, there's a box you can open up here that will show you the layout, and I can't remember right now how to get to that box, but we'll just leave it alone, unless somebody knows. But we'll just. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And on the view here, if we look at the code, I'm going to take away this now because I have the view in here. There we go. All right, so I guess I could move the other one back up, but I'm just going to leave it alone. So I'm going to take the view that I've got, control drag it, and I'm going to stick it next to my other, here's view 1, so I'll stick it, I should put it underneath. Okay, hold on. Let me there we go. If I want to stay organized, this is really view 3, so I'm going to call it view 3. And then it's a UI view. Very good. Okay, so connect. So now I have view 3. Okay, so now I have to go back and actually modify view 1 and view 2 because view 3 is not going to show yet. View 3 is going to show when I walk into the jungle, when I hit one of those buttons. So and I'm going to leave it like this. It's not going to look that pretty, but I'm going to leave it like this to kind of show you what we're doing. And who knows how far we'll get with it. So viewcontroller.m, which is good because I have to do this anyway. Eventually I have to add all this stuff in here. And this is the tedious part, really. Alright, so we can see the code for, we have synthesized view 1, view 2, view 3. We have the name. We have the title up here. So I'm going to change the title to view 4, view 5. So this is our start button. When we hit the buttons, we're changing the views. So in order for me to really work with the view, our start button brings up view 2, and view 2 is going to set the name. Well, we don't have to set the name again. The name's already going to be set, but I can still reuse the name. So it looks to me like I have to program the button. So, and I don't have the button on here, I don't think. And I don't have the button on here, because if I go back to view number H here, if I click on this guy here, I'm not seeing anything over here. I'm not seeing that this button here is wired up yet. Is it wired up yet? I don't remember if I wired it. I don't think I wired it up. So I'm going to create an IB outlet for it. And so I've right mouse clicked on it, and I'm going to use the touch up inside, this one here, and I'm going to press down the control button, and I'm going to stick it, where are my other buttons? Right here. There we go. This looks pretty good right here now. Or should I put it down here? Oh, okay, I'll put it down the bottom. Thank you, because you're going to help me. So, which one is this? Walk into the jungle. I'm going to put here jungle button. Jungle button. And I'm going to change the ID type to a UI button. And the action is touch up inside, which is what I want, actually. So I'm going to press connect. Now I have another one here. And if I do this, I can sort of test it and say, okay, there it is. So this is the code I want to adjust. So I'm going to go back to the .m file, and it's given for us automatically. So here it is right here. So the end button was running an exit, actually. So right underneath here, first thing I'm going to do is follow the same pattern as I kind of did before. So I'm going to set the name. Name was already set. So name text. Well, we don't have to worry about. Okay, so this got rid of the keyboard. The resign first responder. the responder was the keyboard action of the when you type it in, it automatically, the first responder brings up the keyboard. This just says resign, go away. Whatever it had brought up, whether it had been another menu button, a context menu or something, it would have gone away as well. So it's going to resign it. So view number 1 is going to be, it's already set hidden, it's already true. So view number 2 is up though, so I'm going to set view number 2 to hidden. So I'm going to start out by hiding the original view, the second view. So view 2 dot, oops, I'll go back to C++, hidden, and I'm going to say true. And how did I know there was a hidden there? Well, you have to check the properties on the views. If you go online, actually, or if you get one of those dummy books or whatever, they show all the properties, and then you upgrade your iOS version, and then you have new properties. So you just get used to it. In fact, the help system actually tries to help you fill in the blanks as well. So, all right, so view number 2 is now hidden, and okay, so display. So let's actually let's do this here. We don't actually have to put the name in there, do we? No, but let's do this one here. I'm going to say this is day 1, and I'm going to set the title now to day 2. And in our little program, we were just putting stuff up on the screen, right? So why can't we just put that into a label and just put it right there on the view? So that's what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I want to test to see if my button works correctly. So what I'm going to do here then is just make sure I have everything set.
On the window, you have to put the text button in this.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put another button on there too. So we're not quite done yet. So, I'm going to actually run it to see if I get, then I can cover up those windows and I can actually put the view in the correct spot. So I'm going to run it, see what happens. Because eventually I'm just going to have stuff piled on top of everything. So let's just put here start day 1. Okay, it works. And it works. But that view went away. But now the view is on the bottom. So I'm going to move it up and I'm going to fix the, so we're no longer going to see any of the other stuff. So I know the functionality is working. So if I don't test that before I move everything back up into place, then I'm going to, run in a situation where I'm not going to be able to like change anything. I'm trying to click on the view. There's the view. It's nice because it turns it turns a different color when you move it up. Inside of that view, I want to overlap the view. Yeah, let's just do that with it. Hold on a second. I put it inside. I want it outside of the view. I should have made the view a little bit bigger. Nope. There we go. Let's make the view a little bit bigger. Now I got a big view. Okay. Not the best design, but alright. I can always clean it up later. I'm just kind of lazy. Alright, so now I'm going to put a button. Actually, we have to put the label on there along with the text, so then I'm going to add a label. Put here label. And I'm going to put the label right here. So now it basically looks like I have a really clean canvas, actually. There's nothing on it because the view's hiding all of the other stuff. And what was the... This is day 3, right? Or is this is day 2, so I'm going to go back and cheat from the previous example and cut day 2 in there. And it was in game. We put it in a separate class last time. So day 2 was you're inside the jungle because we pressed the jungle button. So, I'm sorry? It's at day 1. You feel rested. Yeah, no, we got to select. So now we're on day 2. Yeah. But our buttons, instead of doing a scanf, we're going to have an answer, and our answer is actually going to be eat the mushrooms or eat the berries. So, but I'm going to take all this text here. I'm just going to stick it in the label just because I'm lazy. Let's see. Which is kind of interesting because you can actually kind of go up here and do this if you wanted to. And then I'm going to get rid of this down here because I don't need that. Edit. Cut. And then I'm going to make this into, it looks like 3 lines. Let's make 4 lines out of it. Hello. There we go. And then adjust it so it looks good. Inside the jungle, you find a bush with black berries at its base. Okay, and so now I'm going to put down here button, put a button on here. Rectangular button, because I have two buttons. I'm going to drag two of them on here right now. And then for the first button here, I'm going to paste all this code, even though we only need that one, so I'm going to cut this one off. Eat berries. And this one was eat mushrooms. Eat mushrooms. And then we have eat berries. You know, I probably could, you know, just like maybe do this with it instead. And there's probably many different user interfaces you could do for this. And then what I could do now is wire the buttons up, and then I would essentially build screen view number 4, and then view number 5, and then essentially repeat the process. That's what I'm going to do. So I just actually kind of want to see. I'm going to leave it at this actually, because unless you guys want to see the rest of it, I don't know. It's going to get boring after a while. So I just want to make sure it actually works. Huh? Oh, we can keep going then. Oh, we're going to go, what happened? See, this is why we test it. You go, well, that's because originally I didn't make view number 4 hidden. View number 4 is visible. Ah, so I can go back, and I knew that before I ran it. I'm like, oh, I didn't change that view. So let me go back. Actually, let's continue with this one. I have to build it anyway, so you're doing my homework for me. All right, so on the original view, remember when I said we had, you know, when the life cycle of the app starts, right at the beginning we have the view did load, view did unload at the end, and the end is going to essentially set everything to null and unload everything. And so at the beginning, this one said set view to, we only had 2 views. So the first one was visible, so we set the second one to hidden. So I have to add here view 3 and set the hidden to true. So I have to hide it. So now if I run it, and although I'm looking at this screen, and I could clean it up a little bit, but now when I run it, the screen's going to be gone actually. And we're just going to see the first view. Yep. So I can see if this works. If I type in my name correctly. Start. Ah, what happened? Well, day number 1 I actually have to set. So now we troubleshoot. So I still have a hidden view on top of a view they're still there. It's the layering of the views is what the problem is, which is kind of interesting actually. So I'm going to stop this and say, well, let's see. Here's our logic. View number 2 didn't become visible because it was visible before. So down here on the bottom, view number 1, we set to true. So I hit the start button, right? So on the start button, view number 1, hidden, yes. View number 2, set hidden false. You know what I need to do is I need to bring it to the top because it's underneath a hidden view. Because if I did this, this would actually, I changed it to view 3. If I did this, it would actually show view 3, I bet. I'm just going to test it. Yeah, view 3. So view 3 is underneath view 2. So then I'd have to either switch the order of the views in the layering, because what I don't want a hidden view on top of a view that's visible. So I got 2 solutions to this. I can change the orientation, put one view underneath the other one programmatically, or I could do it with the views actually, flip the view order. So either way, the problem is I've got an invisible view on top of a visible view, and it's covering it up. So I could, actually here, let's do it this way. The problem is the screen's too small. Actually, let's do this. No, alright, and then I'm too lazy to, yep, here we go. Because if we run it this way, we'll see it. Actually, no, I'm sorry, we will I still have the wrong one showing. Let me stop this for a second. Let's change this back to view 2. Hello. Oh, I think I just crashed my system. Stop. I believe my system is just crashing right now. But you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So I would probably, if it were me, I'd switch the orders of the views. But it's hard for development. So what if I were really doing this? What I would do is move them out. And if this weren't, oh, here we go. It's not locked. Well, it's kind of locked. I can't run it right now because it thinks it's still running. But let me show you something else that's kind of interesting. Actually, let me get rid of this here. There we go. I can do this with it. Oops, not that. Oh, if I can grab onto the view. Hello. Oh, come on. Give me my view. Well. Yeah, I'm trying. Which option is it? I want to get this thing open. Outlets, no. No, there's a screen that comes out in the middle. I closed it accidentally the other day. I'll have to figure out. Maybe it's, yeah, it's this one. I want to get file owner opened. It'll open up in this window. No. And then I can actually drag it through this window that shows up here actually. Okay, I have to figure out how to get that back open. I'm still getting used to this new interface. All right, there's a window that will open up right here, though. Unless it's controlled. No, it's not controlled here. All right, so no, I don't want to drag that one. I want to drag the view. If you can actually get yourself to click on the view and get the view. I got the view. You can drag the view out. When you get all done, then you layer them back up. But when you run it, only what's on the canvas is actually going to show. So let me leave this alone because this is where I want to keep. I'm hosed. I can't run it. Anyway, in fact, I might have to kill this in order to stop it. I don't think I'm going to be able to close Xcode either. No. Right. So hopefully, well, it's okay. So you press the options button and you can press force quit. It'll get rid of this host simulator. All right, last but not least, here's the other example I want to show you, but I'm waiting for the provision for the phone, actually. This is actually, it's called a monkey pinch. It's the one that uses the pinches, but it's also another way of showing you how you can put GUI items on a canvas. And then you can't get the pinch to work on a Mac program. It would only work on an iPhone. But let me show you the interface here. The interface has got a banana, and this is coming from an example I found on the internet, by the way. So it's got some WAV files in here too. Main storyboard. Main storyboard has the banana and the thing on there. And when you run it, it's kind of interesting. In fact, the audio will probably work. It's just that the pinch controls aren't going to work. You can see the interesting animation that you can put on here. I think it would be really fun to teach a game class, actually. I can imagine this for little kids. It would actually make a kind of cool program. It's just 2 GUI items with the actions for the gesture functions are programmed for the different things. So he doesn't do anything, but I think you can drop the banana. Yeah, I can drop the banana. You can throw stuff around. But I can't demonstrate it too because I can't do the pinch control on here. But you can pinch it and it makes a noise. But it's basically showing you how you can move stuff around. And what we're getting down here are the locations. So if this were like a Pong game as an example, I could rest the banana on the monkey or put the Pong piece back and forth and stuff like that. So I'm waiting to demo this and waiting to show you the code on this, but this is the other one I'm working on in terms of the project simulation. But all right, so what I'll do next time is I'll probably, unless someone wants to do it for me, build this thing. It's just kind of tedious at this point because because we're going through the same process over and over again. But yeah, this is a better approach. They'll keep it out like this. And it opened up again, didn't it? I killed it, and it opened up back up again. Oh, well. At least it's all working now, so that's good. Okay, I believe that was the temps calculator. Yep, that was the last one for today. So we're good. Yeah? I can. Okay, I'll put it up. I'll put it. You want the monkey program? All right. You can't demo unless you have a device, though. It doesn't work.
I just want to go through the program because it is
okay.
somewhat with my image and vectors what I'm talking. So,
okay.
So it may help a little bit with the program. So.
It probably will. I can send me an email. And I'll send you the URL to it. It's not my example. I pulled it from somewhere, so I don't want to give it to you. I don't want to redistribute it illegally, so I'll give you from the original source. It's not modified.